Last year, whilst in a mad rush trying to get the van ready and repaired for its MOT so that we could return to Portugal, we went to do a minor repair on the sill, which then completely disintegrated and left me with no sill at all. With one day to go until our ferry crossing, we had to improvise, so I made one. A little bit sketch, but it did its job. However, if left alone, the van's just going to continue to rot. So today we're revisiting this little bodge, ripping off the makeshift panels, and I've bought the new sill, inner sill and step to completely replace this very rusty section of the van. Structural integrity test. Well, there isn't any. That come away from that seam lovely. Oh, that bit's alright. That's not. Preserved it pretty well under here. Yeah. Not bad. Good. Not that it matters because it's all coming off, but it was alright, wasn't it? In order to weld in any new panel, the metal had to be completely stripped back and bare. In the case of the doorstep, the sound deadening auto had to be removed, otherwise it'd just catch fire. So I set about the very tedious task of getting the entire area prepped. All under the watchful supervision of Paul, who actually knows what he's doing when it comes to metalwork. Okay, tonight's job, as you can hear behind me, is the air suspension. If you've been following along for a while, you've known that this van has got air suspension and it's always had a leak. Always been a bane of my life. So I set about getting underneath today, finally, and figuring it all out, because it's such an overcomplicated system. Because it used to be able to drop the back to obviously let the old tail lift come down, go back up, and then it pumps straight back up. So over the years it's been messed about and adapted so that basically only went up and that was it. And then because of a leak somewhere on the system, overnight it would slowly kind of dip. So what I've done is I've been under there for the past hour. All the modules, the micro switches that used to let it know where it was, I've disconnected all them, took all the air pipes right back. Really shouldn't have done that. So it's basically just the air compressor, the 4 airbags, one module that is needed, and then there is a emergency valve that goes up to the bonnet. So in the event that the compressor that you can hear now is broken, which it has done in the past, you can put a compressor onto it and pump it up. However, bear in mind I've had this van 3 years. Never been able to find the leak. Get past the compressor. Never been able to find the leak. I went through underneath the entire system. I got some water and ferry liquid and sprayed every single joint. couldn't find the issue. But I've just come to here after going through everything again today, and it's only when you can put your ear right next to it that you can hear the tiniest of hisses. So my leak has been hiding in plain sight the entire time, and now with the proper tool, I may have just fixed my leak. Unreal. I must have taken about 10 meters worth of pipe work out. Each one of them had, I don't know, throughout the whole lot, there's probably, not even joking, 30 joints that are now obsolete. All I've got to do now, because I've just noticed how tall the van is pumping up, I've got to check that the auto cut-off is still connected and still working, and it's not just going to keep pumping air in until something goes bang. I may have just fixed it 3 years later. It is considerably tall. It's never been that tall before, I don't think. Okay, this box here is the compressor. There's my shoulder just gone. Is the compressor and all of the bits and bobs that basically make it do its thing. It is very rusty. Way more rusty than when I last saw it, actually. To the point where the door was f***ing open. Oh, come on. Yes, there we go. Come on. Whew. Okay, so there is the compressor and all of its bits and bobs. And here is the automatic cut-off. I guess it's supposed to it'll still cut off. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it go. Just by touching the system, I unearthed a whole multitude of problems. More leaks, it wouldn't air up properly, it wouldn't stop pumping. Oh, I then basically had to retrace my steps and just go backwards. It's now 12:30. I opened up a big old can of worms, fiddling with the air suspension. It's just... So I gained more of a leak than ever. The van comes up to pressure, and then now, rather than there being a 10-minute gap, it just keeps coming on, dropping off, coming on, dropping off. And then whilst I was trying to figure out what had happened there and like eliminate certain bits, I then lost all pressure altogether. Or rather, the system was getting up to pressure, but then cutting off before the suspension was lifting. And then all hell broke loose, and I've got it going again now, but I'm just like, ooh, yeah, let's just not touch that. But hey ho, that's what you do, innit? It's you live and learn. But it's now 12:30. I am exhausted. There is some of my orange twirl left. Oh yes. The next morning it was back on the Sill, where I'd forgot to do the other side of where we were welding. All the rubbery protective spray needed removing on the back because, well, again, it would just catch fire. Not a pleasant or quick job. Then, because I'd bought galvanised panels, everywhere that needed a weld going through it needed to be completely stripped back of galv as well. But as Paul said, it's all in the prep, and if you don't get it right, it just won't weld up. Honestly, I'm never complaining about how much welders charge. Once everything was finally prepped and we double and triple checked that everything fitted, Paul then began tacking the first of the panels in, the step. As he was doing so, he was showing me the ropes and giving me a bit of a lesson on how to weld. Then before I knew it, he was handing the welder over to me and it was my turn.
Oh, that's better. What are you doing? Put it back up there. Yeah. Perfect. Right, so tap in between, either side of it. So you're getting it driven out like that. So push that all the way in at the top. And this side, yeah. Push it all the way in, tap it on top. You'll see it, they'll burn and get a nice join in them too. Very quick. No way. Down as you go all the way to the end again.
I was a novice to say the least, but Paul left me to tack on the inner sill myself, more than likely because you won't see any of the welds once it's finished, and that was a good move. There's an art to welding that you don't just pick up in 5 minutes. The panels have got to be completely clean or it'll blow a hole in it, catch fire or just won't weld. The panels have got to be totally touching or you'll blow a hole in it. You've got to keep your hands really steady and maintain a decent weld for the right amount of time or you'll blow a hole in it. You've just got to deal with the white hot bits of metal flying at you and burning through your clothes and onto your skin. And you've got to do all this with a massive mask on that's a bit tricky to see through. And this bit's just tacking the panel on, we're not going for the full weld yet. Oh dear. Started getting better there. I just started getting the knack of it and then I ran out of metal.
I see what you mean. I've seen worse. Not a lot, but I'll get some bits to stay out for you another day and we'll show you then.
Paul then repaired all the damage I'd just done and then seam welded the whole lot up.
Really good video for that.
Okay, it's now 11 o'clock at night. I'm just getting some of this red oxide on here. What we've done is we've changed the plan slightly. So, yeah, I'm going to get all this coated up in red oxide. It's had a little bit of etch primer on it. I've taped off the bits we've still got to weld to. Basically, because the way these things rot is the water sits in these steps, makes its way through into the sill, and just rots it out. So I really don't want to leave bare metal in here, basically, because the process will very quickly just start again. So we've left the outside sill off. Oh god, brain, come on, engage. So I'm going to coat all this up in red. In the morning, before Paul gets here, I'm going to go around with some seam sealer and just seal up all the little areas, like the bit where I welded so badly it's blown a hole in it. Seal all that off. And yeah, so basically tomorrow that'll all be good to go. Sill gets welded on. I can then spray a load of wax oil and God knows what through the holes, get it all coated up nicely, paint all that, and then fingers crossed by tomorrow at about 4:30 it'll have dried, all be good to go, all back together, the whole van back together, cleaned off, because I'm supposed to be going away with Emma this weekend. First time I've really been able to see her properly since Portugal, so that'll be nice. But yeah, need this to work. I don't think I recorded the brake bleed. I've just done a full bleed of all the brakes because the fluid was It was cooked. I've faffed with the air suspension. Managed to get that going again after totally biffing that up. And diff's been serviced. Oh god, there's been so much. This week's just, I don't know where it's gone. It should all be good to go. This is the last thing, so as long as that goes on tomorrow without a hitch, which I don't think it will. It's all covered in shit. It's all cleaned. I've cleaned all the edges. It should literally just be Bosch. Tack the bottom in, tack the top in, get all that seam all nice, paint it up, and yeah, be good to go. I think while I've got the paint out though, when I ordered this, it was supposed to come with the dog leg, this bit, and it didn't come with that. Yeah, one of them. This is starting to get a bit bubbly and a bit bad, so I think just as a precaution, while I've got all the tools here and while this is here, tonight I'm going to strip that back a bit and basically do this on there and just try and preserve it a little bit longer, because as Paul said earlier, it's not great, so I'm going to try and get that at least protected a little bit longer. The van should be good to go. So yeah, I'm going to get on with this, get it painted, let it do its thing overnight, and we'll see you guys in the morning. The next morning it was all still a little bit tacky, so we got some more done on the tow hitch and then come back to this in the afternoon. After a final check over, it was all good to go and the last piece of the puzzle could be welded on. I thought it was best to let Paul do it, as this was the finished product. I would be the tool fetcher, air blower, and because I'd missed a few areas of the underseal on the back face, also fire extinguisher. Only small fires though, nothing to get too et up about. Okay, we have broke the back of it. Sill's now all welded up. All I've got to do is grind some bits back, edge primer it, red oxide, stone chip, paint, whichever right way they're around, they go. Test the brakes, make sure the brakes are still working, check out the air suspension, which actually, having now just put the new emergency valve on it that come today, the van's been up for half an hour and the compressor hasn't kicked back in. So I'm classing that as a bit of a win, because it used to be 10 minutes, so we'll keep that going, see how long that stays up for. Yeah, so Tata will pull these, Tata will pull the air suspension, and hopefully that will dry by roughly 5-6 o'clock when Emma arrives, and then we're straight off to the peaks. Talk about cutting it fine, eh? And I might even be able to wash it, yeah, I don't even know. Paul, as always, absolute legend. He's just done so much stuff here, and really just pulled the bar out for me once again. I can never quite thank him enough. So I'm going to go and get some bottles of stuff for next week so we can have a good drink, because I'm going to be popping back and giving more of a hand on his white Sprinter engine conversion. There's a few bits of electrics that need doing on that for its MOT. But yeah, we're done. I have no idea if these videos are any good or if they're even going to make it onto a video, because honestly it was one of them classic me things of let's start 7 jobs at once, and that never really goes well, because then it's just trying to record each bit and I miss loads of stuff, and yeah, so we'll see. It's been a long couple of nights and days and a week actually, Jesus. Yeah, we got there. More work has been done. I'm able to start locating chassis and stuff because I can pull one around and start project. Haven't come up with the name of it yet. But yeah, I'm going to finish up here, get the van pulled out, hopefully clean it, and that's just basically done. Okay. God, this thing's desperate for a clean. Eventually, I could really do with sorting them out now, but fact of the matter is I haven't got the time. So they're going to have to stay as they are. I mean, this is my van. It does not really matter to me that much. Although that needs sorting quite quickly. I'll just let water pierce in. Yeah.
If you watched my cam sensor video a couple of weeks ago, you'll know how our weekend went. We broke down. Luckily it was a quick fix and I managed to do it back at Pools. Then once that was done, we cracked on with the Sprinter engine conversion, attempting to sync up the oil pressure switch, the alternator, a method of shutting the engine off via the key, and a few other bits. And the last little remnants of modern electronics fought us every step of the way. And just before I shot off, Paul asked if I could swap the engine battery on one of the older Sprinters outside, which gave me a rare opportunity considering this Sprinter had the same engine and gearbox as mine.
This is one of Paul's many Sprinters, and what's nice about this one is it's the 316 Amber's the 416, so this has the same engine as mine. It also has the sprint shift gearbox. So I've just put a new battery in it because it was flat and it hasn't ran for quite a while, so I'm just sat here kind of warming it up and make sure everything works really. And what's really quite nice is the fact that I can compare between the two. This has only done 98,000 miles, mine's in the 300s. So all of the little sort of weird noises I get from mine, or if I feel the engine's not quite sat at the right note, or if the gearbox is not feeling right, that's basically all just been quashed because this and mine sound exactly the same, which Paul's always said, like, because it was an ambulance, he's adamant that mine had a new engine before it come out of service, and that sort of is backed up by the fact that with the mileage difference, these are still, you know, mine essentially runs sweet as a nut. Yeah, I was worried about a slight lower end, what I thought was a rattle, but this does it as well. It sounds exactly the same.
That is the only difference. I need to tighten that down.
One thing that is a bit different is the gears go in a little bit quicker, and because this doesn't have diff slap, it's a lot smoother on the gear changes. I had to pull away, you sort of feel a bit of a judder on mine, whereas this doesn't. It all feels a lot more sort of together. This one even has the soft touch dash, which I've never ever seen. It's a really, really nice van. It was a camper. When I started working on it, we were swapping the bathroom and making a bigger bed, and then I went away and did a job, come back, and Paul had stripped the entire van out,
and that's basically how it's been until he figures out what he wants to do with it, basically. But it's got all of the camper shutters on the windows, everything. It's just a really nice van. But yeah, it's sort of like put my anxieties to rest a little bit on some of the quirks of my van, because this one has literally 1/3 the mileage. But no, engine wise, mechanical wise, gearbox wise, they ain't far off, so that's nice. And that's just basically done. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, or these series of videos. Don't know how I've done it yet, but yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.